¿Cómo está? And good morning. Today we're going to talk about lung nebulization medicinal delivery system. So I'm going to try to kill a couple birds with one stone and discuss two things mainly here is how we nebulize in our family. And this is a protocol that Dr. Brownstein, one of the top, if not the top iodine doctor in the world that I've talked about many times, a therapy that he has used for many years, more specifically in the last couple of years, but he's used this therapy for 30 years for flu, cold, and everything else you can imagine. So I'm going to try to, hopefully I can make this nice and simple because I want to dedicate this to Lola Sasabo, my wife's mother in the Philippines, because we are sending a nebulizer here that I'll describe how to use fairly well if you don't already have one. And if you don't have one, please strongly consider getting one for your family and have one in your household. I can't tell you, and I won't get into how many, but how many times I've seen something like this. This is a $45 unit. How many times I've seen this actually save lives, and it's been phenomenal for me. And I forgot to mention in my heart failure video yesterday that along with not smoking and not drinking, nebulizing and getting hydrogen peroxide through nebulization and through 35% with water orally has been a critical help. But there are different types of nebulizers, and I'll show you how to use not only the nebulizer, but I'm going to show you how to use a spray bottle and make that incredibly effective for as a throat spray or just something that you can inhale pretty powerfully. But this one is called a Dynarex. You can get some small handheld ones with some batteries, but they just don't have enough oomph to them. So try to get one that's on this order. They're getting harder to find. I was trying to tell people years ago, you got to get one while you can, even before all the pandemic stuff had gone on. The nebulizations are just incredibly powerful. In everything from medicines that you can get from your doctor, of course, and everything from naturals to things that you can come up with yourself just using simple water, for that matter. But here today we're going to use a therapy again that Dr. Brownstein had discussed. Now, before I'd even heard about this a couple years ago, I had very often used peroxide and iodine and water in my nebulizers. I also used whole aloe, sodium bicarbonate, baking soda. These are all incredibly powerful, antifungal, you name it. So I won't get into too much depth on this one. I want to make it a short video for you guys. But let me go back to a study that I quote very often. Is one study in the medical journal Lung, I believe is in 2013. They stated, I've been sharing this probably since 2013 actually, but they stated out of 27 people that were diagnosed with lung cancer, 27 of those people were given antifungals, and all 27 recovered and got well. Now, can you imagine using an antifungal like fenbendazole, whatever it is, or using a natural antifungal like this, or anti-cancer known to kill cancer cells and fungal cells? Same thing here, same with sea salt, same with sodium bicarbonate. Can you imagine being able to have that without, along on top of whatever your oncologist you feel that you've got to do there? That would be the last thing I did was chemo and radiation. But where you do use a nebulizer, whether it's vitamin C, whether it's peroxide, or whether it's a combination of these things, they're so powerful, and you're getting it right on the tissues. So again, imagine just taking a single antifungal that they were taking and having that be that effective on lung cancer. 27 out of 27 cases. And this is old news. And what's also old news is they've been treating cancer with antifungals, repurposing it for many years, but they don't tell anybody. I tell as many people as I can, and I have for probably 15 years, and oftentimes to no avail, because people are scared to death, and that's understandable, but they got to get their chemo and radiation in there so they can, chemo is one of the few things in medicine that doctors actually buy and they actually resell for a profit at the doctor's office itself. So I mean, there's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of good people out there, but when 8 out of 10 oncologists won't use the stuff they sell, it's time to consider other options that are out there. So this is, I'm going to try to mix this right here so I can show you how it's done. So don't really need to understand my English really clear if you don't, which would be fine. But this is the Brownstein protocol, and one that I've used quite regularly. And one that I not only use in the nebulizer, but I actually use in a spray bottle, and I'll explain this too. So how I do it basically. So I've got a little drawing here, and so here's my 1 cup. So we're talking about 8 ounces here, and you could actually mix the difference, but this is just for the sake of ease. So for 1 cup, he uses about an 11 to 1 ratio. So 1 part peroxide and 11 parts water. But I mean, this is pretty loosey-goosey in my mind, because I've done straight peroxide, which Dr. Levy suggests oftentimes, and I would do it again, actually, depending on how severe it was. You get a little irritation in the throat, but definitely nothing that will cause permanent damage as far as I'm concerned, or know in my experience. But anyway, you can do it at different ratios, depending on how sick a person was. If it was just a little scratch, well, just use a ratio like this, or maybe consider more. But here's a good effective one that he's used on people that were slightly sick and incredibly sick, and have kept many people out of hospital with that ratio. So again, this isn't going to be exact, but we'll say about here is 8 ounces. So let's just rough estimate. That's going to be more, but just rough estimate. Say we'll use the 1 part peroxide. Again, this is going to be a little heavy. This is probably going to be more like 2 or 3 parts, or 25%. But and then you put in your water. Just roughly a cup of water, and make sure your water is pure. Now, of course, when you add your iodine to it, that purifies water in time, but you want to use as pure water as you can possibly get. Obviously you don't want to be nebulizing water that is straight out of a stream or something like that may have whatever it may be, bacterial, whatever parasites that are in it. You want to get stuff that is pure water when you're nebulizing, and keep it that way. And then you put in about a 1/8 or 1/16 to 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt, and mix it. Now for me, I would generally mix this right inside my Vitamix blender, mix it up real good for about 5 minutes, and then go ahead and use it. Now sometimes I'll just drink it like that actually, but that's another subject. But if you can't use it, don't worry about it. You're talking about 2-3 cents worth of product here. You don't want to waste any if you can help it, but you're better off making stuff fresh as you can. So what I like to do is I bought a whole bunch of bottles like this, and to my family there, when we send you your nebulizer, we're going to send you some bottles like this. So you take it from the good mixture, so you got that salt all mixed up in there, and you go ahead and put it in there. Whoops-a-dippy. I made a little bit of a mess here, but that's all right. That's what I do. So anyway, this is a nice little spray bottle. This is a 2-ounce spray bottle. I have 1-ounce bottles too. And when I'm ready to put it in the nebulizing cup, obviously you just take the cover off here. Pour it right inside the nebulizing cup, medicine cup. And you don't want to fill it all the way past, top of this. You put it about 2/3 of the way up. And this is my daughter's mask. So this came with a kit of 2 masks actually, which is great. It's got an adult size mask and a kid size mask. So we're all set. Whoop! I forgot one thing. Very important thing. And you don't want to put a ton of iodine in there either. So if it's for a child like my daughter, we'll put 1 drop in there. For my wife and I, we might put 2 drops in there. Iodine, of course, is very, very safe. Lugols iodine is only I don't use iodine in any other way other than Lugols solutions, other than povidone. But anyway, that's ready to go. And the worst that's likely to happen is some irritation, but it's pretty seldom. We've been doing this. We've done this together 100 times easily. Far more than that actually, because I have a nebulizer set up right in my sauna downstairs. So I have the nebulizer outside the sauna, and I have this hose going right through the wall of the sauna. So when I'm doing my detox in the sauna and sweating like a madman, I'll put this on and I'll get great oxygen, and I'll get a detox that way as well, and as well as oxygenating my blood. This is a way to oxygenate my blood, as far as, again, with heart failure and other issues. And of course, as we know, your body produces peroxide. That's one of the ways it kills off pathogens, and it's incredibly important to immune system. So this is it. So this is, I'll have my daughter in this case with her mask here. Go ahead and put it on. And as you can see, good to go. Simple as that. Now I'm going to dump this out just to get it out of the way. I mean, I wouldn't mix it with the other ones, but so it's as simple as that. You can't get much easier than that. You can't get much more inexpensive than that. And you talk about potency right on the tissues, incredibly safe. You got sea salt and sodium, of course, which is very antifungal, anti-cancer. You have peroxide, which is anti-cancer, antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial. And you have iodine, which is all the above as well. So you're talking some potent, beautiful, wonderful things that have worked for an iodine almost, Lugols iodine almost a couple hundred years. And peroxide since the beginning of time, because again, we produce it. The key is to use proper amounts and know how to use it, but again, it's something that's incredibly safe. So that's that. And then when you have this, so you can use this to fill your nebulizer cup, but you have this, but if you don't have access to electricity, you don't want to use your nebulizer. When I've shown this, taught this for many years as well, but I'm not sure if I ever put it on video. However funny looking it looks, hey, that's what I do too. Try to look funny. So anyway, you can see the spray coming out. So as you exhale, just inhale, or you can just do it in the back of your throat as well. I mean, because obviously we know that that's where generally when you talk about viral infection, that's where it starts. But you can simply just go spray it like that, and that's where I'll show you about this throat spray here that is incredibly effective. Or actually exhale, and then inhale deep. Inhale while you're sucking in. Now, my little girl will do this. I mean, she's 8 years old, and if need be, she'll inhale it right in there, and she loves doing it. As a matter of fact, my grandson now, he's starting, 3 years old, he's starting to do that, and he uses very light iodine. He had a little infection in his eye. He used a little bottle here with the proper amounts of iodine spray as an antibacterial instead of the very risky and dangerous antibiotics. And again, Lugols is just about the safest antibiotic you can find on earth, and it's not made out of fungal mycotoxins like the antibiotics you get from the doc are. So he sprayed in his eyes, and his infection's gone in no time. But anyway, so I'm going to move on from that. So this is a very effective, wonderful treatment. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. But anyway, hopefully you get an idea here. This is a rough idea. Again, if you put a little bit too much peroxide in there, a little bit, it just might be a little irritating. And if it's too irritating on the throat or the lungs, well, then you're going to have to just throw that cup out and redo it and make it a little lighter. And again, always talk to your doctor and talk to your naturopathic doctor, somebody who's knowledgeable in the use of these kind of things, because most doctors, again, they would rather just throw antibiotics at you, whether it's a virus or fungus or not. They have no clue. They're only good on bacteria, but they'll throw it at whatever they can, and we all know that. They throw it around like it's candy. Okay, so this is my own throat spray that I derived for quite some time. I had an irritation in my throat, and one of the things that I came up with myself here is a very good mixture. I love it. I actually like the taste of it too. And it's very easy to use. Matter of fact, both my wife and daughter had, my wife's only been sick once in her life that I know of, and she got over it very quickly, but she got COVID, and we used these protocols for that. I won't say much more than that because people are still nuts about things today, and I don't want to get taken off YouTube. But whatever the case, she got over very quick. But this is one of the things I use pretty regularly, and just because I like the taste too. And clove oil, if you didn't know it, is one of the major antioxidants there are on Earth here. So it's got great taste. It is very effective. It's highly antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-yeast, of course, with the antifungal, and it's easy to use. So you simply use. I do that pretty much every day and every night, and I don't have any irritation in my throat and stuff like that. And when they were coughing and had their lung problems, I had none, which is pretty great considering I've been dealing with some other things that I'm overcoming rather rapidly, which is great. So this is my own little throat spray. So what I mix, I'll tell you, this is 1 ounce bottle. So how I do it actually is I fill it about 90% full. So I'll take my clove oil and I put about 3 drops of clove oil. Now I was putting some, I forget what it's called now, you guys might know, but it's for toothache. What's it called? Anyway, it numbs the numbs the gums and stuff like that that cause, for infected gums or whatever else. I had put that in there before, but I found that along with the clove, but I found that the clove worked just as well. I just used one more drop. So in something this size, you can add or subtract, depending on what your taste and level of tolerance, I guess. I mean, there's not a lot to tolerate, but anyway, 3 drops of the clove oil, pure clove oil, 100%. Don't get any garbage that has any added oils. This is grapefruit seed extract. That's an incredibly powerful antifungal. And it tastes good. That's comes directly from grapefruit seed. Again, get 100% oils. Whatever it is, get 100%. And this grapeseed extract, I put in 10 drops of that into that. Stevia kind of to taste. So that I put in probably in the bottle this small, about 5, which is quite a bit. That's quite a bit of, but what the heck, stevia is great. It's 0 calories, and it's, they're using it for Lyme's disease and all kinds of things. So stevia is a great thing to use. And then I'll put anywhere from 10 to 15 drops. This is 5%, a little smaller bottle, but I'm talking about 2% actually. The only reason I did this, I got 2 bottles here just so it's easy to see here, but I put, actually last time I think I put 20 drops because both my wife and daughter were coughing for about a week or more. And I thought I'm going to make it a little stronger, so I put 20 drops in here, which is incredibly safe and effective. Keep in mind, you probably get those sprays right here. I think I counted one time. I think you get about 125 sprays out of just a 1 ounce bottle, so it goes a very, very long way. So even if you put 20 drops of iodine in there, you're getting a fraction of that. That's direct, but it's directly on your throat, and it can be directly into your lungs depending on how you aspirate and bring that in. So I think that's going to be the note for today. So all my family and all our family in the Philippines, we hope that this is helpful. So when we send these things to you, you know how to use them. Very easy to use, very safe. And don't forget, these are 110. I don't know what they have over there. So you got to get I got to hopefully remember to get our proper converter. But these are very effective. And if you can afford it, we've given quite a few away when we could afford it. But right now I see that you can get 5 of them for about $200, I think it is, which is about, that's $40 a piece. Buy them, give them away, because they're lifesavers. So on top of things that you have to have in your household, like iodine and peroxide, in my view, among quite a few other things, a nebulizer is just as critical. So I think that's going to be it. So Salamat. Thank you guys very much. Hope you enjoy. Bye-bye.